Today, the Secret Service went to Congress to tell them they're closing the case. Does that mean they finally found out who had the coke? No. They don't even have a culprit. They don't even know when the cocaine was dropped.
When is there a range of when it was possibly left at this?
So Secret Service does not have an actual range of when this substance was left. They said that it could have been a few hours, a couple of days, or even years.
Years? They're blaming it on Trump? Come on. And we still don't know where they found it. Remember, first we were told it was in the library, then it was in a little cubby, and then it was near the Situation Room. Where hasn't the coke been? But now the Secret Service is saying it's back in the cubby.
What we are told is there are 182 lockers on the wall of the foyer in the West Wing for individuals to put items in. And this was found in locker number 50, and the key currently is missing.
So who used the cubby? Cubby number 50. Well, the Secret Service doesn't know. And the key to the cubby just vanished. Was the cubby being used as a drop-off location? And who has the key? The person who did the drop or the person who picked it up? Only one of two people. And if you're living in the White House, you can't go out and score coke on the streets. Now, Hunter's had a D.C. hookup for years. He scored coke and crack from a woman named Ray, also known as Bicycles. Years ago in D.C., Hunter and Bicycles shacked up together for 5 months. Hunter talks about it in his book. Did Bicycles bring coke into the most secure building in the world with cameras all over?
Did you ask about tapes?
Yes.
And if there were
The only security footage is on, I believe it's called West Executive Avenue, and that is right outside the foyer of the West Wing. So that is the only security footage that is available. They went through, that's how they came up with this number of some 500 individuals. That's not an exact number, nor were we given the exact number, but there are not cameras in the foyer.
You're telling me cocaine winds up in the White House and there's no cameras? In the White House. The Secret Service has everything: facial recognition, security screenings, DNA, canines, forensic analysis, fingerprinting, logs. And the coke just happened to be dropped in the one blind spot. They investigate this for 10 days and all they know is that 500 people were near the coke? Thanks a lot, Secret Service. I mean, what if this was ricin? This means the Secret Service wouldn't be able to find out who brought ricin into the White House. The Secret Service is supposed to sniff out assassins, bomb threats, kidnapping attempts. They can't crack a drug deal at the White House. We can pull a serial killer's DNA off of an incinerated hairbrush in a landfill 25 years after a crime. You're saying we can't find one fingerprint on this bag of coke? Not one? Not one DNA sample? What, did Bicycles wear latex gloves? Hey, Secret Service, maybe check the security video for someone wearing latex gloves. The Secret Service has a $3 billion a year budget, billion, and they can't solve a case that a local county detective can solve like that. But the Democrats are satisfied.
You know, there are thousands of people who enter there every single day, 10,000 a week or something. We don't check people for drugs on the way into the Capitol or into the Capitol office building, so we wouldn't know if somebody brought some in here.
You're satisfied, or at least, you thought it was a thorough investigation in terms of what they...
Oh, yeah, I'm satisfied it's a thorough investigation.
Of course Raskin's satisfied, but he's a liar. This wasn't a random person getting a tour or a construction worker. Whoever brought the coke had special access.
It couldn't be just anyone. It's not just any visitor to the White House. It is a person that was brought in, either a pass holder themselves or brought in with a pass holder on that particular day.
If this was the Trump White House, Democrats would be demanding Donald P. in a cup. Stephen Miller would be strapped to a lie detector test. They'd be giving Kellyanne a full-body cavity search. Pence would be forced to undergo field sobriety tests. Did you know that you have to pass a drug test to work at the White House? So everyone at the White House has already been drug tested. Well, aside from the first family. So what's the big deal if you drug test them again? Well, Democrats say it would violate the druggies' civil rights.
I've heard Republican members suggest that they should drug test everybody who was in the White House for that week or that day, which is hundreds or thousands of people. And that would strike me as a massively disproportionate and overblown response that would violate people's civil liberties.
Maybe it's a bit too far to make 500 people pee in a cup, but didn't they make everybody contact trace like crazy for COVID? When Trump caught COVID, the media made maps of everybody who was near him for 72 hours. I mean, the media, the Democrats, everybody made everybody get COVID tested every single day. The Democrats and the media haven't investigated this at all. By the way, is cocaine more dangerous than COVID? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But just keep this in mind. The Secret Service director, Kimberly Cheadle, used to be a part of Vice President Biden's security detail. And if you remember, Vice President Biden used to skinny dip in front of his female Secret Service agents. So Cheadle, who knows Biden a little too well, gets tapped to lead the Secret Service? Is Cheadle compromised? Well, we don't know. And why are the Bidens always leaving stuff behind? Guns, laptops, crack pipes, diaries. And the government's always there to clean it up. Did you know this isn't the first time they found drugs in the Biden White House?
In 2022, twice, while going through screening, people were caught with marijuana in their possession. So for this being the third time that drugs were found on the White House property during the Biden administration, it certainly poses the question, what kind of people are we allowing to go onto that premise, and what is their actual purpose there?
Primetime needs to know the details of these two other drug discoveries in the Biden White House, and we're on it, don't worry. And by the way, we were told Hunter's itch was gone. But from 2003 to 2019, Hunter relapsed at least 10 times. He'd say he was going to rehab, and a lot of the times he never made it. Fair question, did Hunter relapse? We hope he didn't. Hunter's supposed to keep his nose clean for the plea deal. Does that explain the cover-up? We've been seeing a lot of Hunter lately, haven't we? State dinners, Air Force One, Rose Garden, Camp David, Rehoboth, Ireland, 4th of July. Hunter is always with Joe Biden, always. Carrying that stupid big red backpack around. Why is he always carrying the backpack? And why is Joe keeping Hunter so close? Isn't it weird that the president's 53-year-old son who's married with children is living at the White House? Joe's been telling his staffers, quote, hands off Hunter. And that probably goes to the Secret Service, too. You think Cheadle's saying no to the big guy? And this is why we need a real investigation into Cocaine Gate.
On the White House cocaine investigation, do you think now that Secret Service says they've ended their investigation, is there a role for Congress to play here?
Yes, because they should end their role. You can't tell me in the White House with 24/7 surveillance in a cubbyhole by a situation when you don't know who to deliver it. I mean, the American people think that's a farce. You should get an answer to the question. It just seems to me in America today, anything involving Biden Inc. gets treated different than everything else, and that shouldn't be the case.
So what?
We should know who brought the coke into the White House, and the Secret Service can't just cover it up. Cheadle, if the investigation's over, respond to our Freedom of Information Act. Give us the coke file. Give us the surveillance footage near those little cubbies. Since you didn't look at it, we'll look at it. If you give it to us, we'll crack the case like that. So give America what it wants, Cheadle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.